Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Grain Gauntlet. We've got 5 questions from clients here for Hedge Plus owner Patrick Hayes. It seems like a lot of people are trying to figure out what's going on with the markets, what all these different factors that could be contributing to the current rally, and everyone just seems to be trying to get a finger on which is having the most impact. So that's seems to be the basics of the question this week. So you're ready to go?
I'm ready to rock.
All right. First question says, I know Russia and Ukraine fighting again impacts wheat. Is there flare-up driving up corn and soybeans at all?
Yeah, there definitely is. I mean, the Ukrainian-Russian situation always been a risk to the marketplace. It's a risk now, and I'm really concerned about it, to be honest with you. I think Putin is backed into a corner. The Ukrainians have learned a way with their drone manufacturing, a way to get deep inside Russia and hurt them. That also blocks some of the export passageways for the Russians to move their wheat. Their wheat crop should be really good, lots of rain this year, but it's going to be difficult to move out with the Ukrainians. That also is leading to more bombings of ships around Odessa and Odessa itself. So again, we're risking corn exports being moved out of Ukraine and wheat exports being moved out of Russia. It can rally prices.
Yeah, that Russian bombing of Odessa, a ship, the Odessa port happened overnight. So that's another escalation beyond what we've seen already. So this just seems to be getting worse.
Yep. And that's one of the reasons we're higher.
Okay. This question says it's been hot here, but also wet. The market seems to be pricing in worse weather than we've been getting. What are you hearing from other places?
We're not getting worse weather. We're getting bad weather in a lot of places. It's just amazing how well the crop has held up. Here in Milwaukee, for example, by my house, 40 miles north, officially weather companies have said that we got 0.16 inches of rain in July. We're not supposed to get any more rain this month. If that holds out, this will be the driest month ever, drier than the 0.28 inches in July of the Dust Bowl year 1936. Very, very dry. The crop looks pretty doggone good. It's amazing. And maybe because we had too much rain late June and that has held up, and the hybrids and everything else. Vegetative health is really good across the nation, according to NOAA and the satellites from NASA. So it's really kind of contradictory. Old days, we'd be freaking out big time with the dryness that we have seen. The crop is deteriorating significantly in some places. South Dakota, all those guys, there are guys that have gotten rain and look pretty good. There's some that are just devastated. So we're not going to have the barn buster we're looking at in June. The question is, do we get good, cool weather in August with rain? According to the CPC, above normal precip to normal through the whole nation and cooler temperatures, that should help the crop a lot, especially soybeans. Corn is pretty much made. I don't expect a disaster.
Okay. This question says, do you expect things to get much worse with Iran? Enough to push oil back up to $100 and give us another leg higher with corn and soybeans?
Oh, man, I'm very concerned about that, too. I mean, if this expands any further, we continue to attack, and the Iranians are backed into the corner like it appears more and more they are. The next thing that they're going to probably do is have the Houthis start bombing ships, south of the Straits of Hormuz and the Red Sea area, right? And now you got two major clog points that are where ships can be attacked. If that escalates to that level, we're not just talking about 20% of the world's crude being moved. You're talking about a lot more stuff besides crude being moved through the Red Sea. Bottom line is this is not getting better. It's getting worse. There's more risk. And I don't see an out. I don't see an out for us unless we bring Iran down to their knees and we have some kind of change in regime, or at least in power structure, where the Revolutionary Guard isn't leading the way anymore. I don't see an out for Putin either in Russia. The Ukrainians have become masterful at warfare, and I can't see a bear being backed into a corner and going quietly, and that scares the heck out of me. So both situations lead to potential rallies, but they also long term lead to potential recession worldwide. So you could see spikes of crude up to $1.50, $1.60. Excuse me. I did put on my do not disturb. I guess it didn't want to work. Okay. So sorry about that. So yeah, I am very concerned about crude prices going higher, and that also supporting corn and soybean prices.
Okay. This one's pretty straightforward. It says, do you think we see an improvement in basis before harvest?
If prices rally, typically basis widens. So when we start going back down, that's when basis will get better. If the weather improves and the world situation doesn't get worse, I would expect that we will fall back down. Now, are we going to fall back down to last year's lows? No. Corn probably 450 is a good target. Beans, well, 1150 to 12 bucks, probably good target. 1150. Probably good targets. And when that happens, that's when basis gets better. So if we go down, expect better basis. Go up, it's not going to get better.
Okay. All right. Now, you had mentioned earlier, our crop seems to be holding up pretty well so far this year. This question says, is El Nino causing worse weather in other parts of the world? And maybe that's why prices keep climbing, even though our crops are holding up well.
El Nino is a price factor. It's not even started yet, though. Okay. Our effect with El Nino for our crops is very minimal, usually slightly above trend line. But you got to remember, this could be a historic El Nino. And when you get temperatures that warm, does it change the pattern a little bit more than what we're used to with normal El Ninos? I think the case is yes, because normally we have much better flow of the atmosphere from west to east than we're having this year. We're having more stuck positions. So the hotter temperature in the Pacific may be causing that. I do know that correlation to the South American crop is much stronger than to the U.S. crop. So this fall, as El Nino reaches its peak, drought is being forecasted big time for the northern two-thirds of Brazil. 1 month out, 2 months out, 3 months out, 4 months out, dry, 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 and very wet in Argentina and far southern Brazil. That is normal for El Ninos. A strong El Nino could enhance that even more. So we could have the bean crop be delayed. You got to remember that they go 6 months without rain, so they need a 2-inch rain to be comfortable in planting their crop, because then the seed will germinate with 2 inches of rain. If they don't get that rain, they don't get the crop in the ground. They don't get the bean crop in the ground. They can't plant the second crop on time, and that's the safina crop. That would be crazy for prices if that happened. We could see a huge spike. In the Far East, Pacific, Indonesia, very dry during El Ninos. Australia, their upcoming growing season should be typically dry during El Nino. I think this El Nino is going to have a greater effect because of the strength than what we have seen historically. So get ready. We could see some crazy price moves.
Yeah, and to build on that with a couple things I read this morning that could be indicative of some of the price moving even being factored in now. One thing I saw was that China, obviously fully aware of what El Nino typically does to South America. I read that some people are attacking the uptick in Chinese purchases right now from us, preemptively knowing what could be coming to South America. And China's pattern had typically been to buy when our prices come down. They didn't wait for our prices to come down this time.
Yeah.
And so it could have something to do with it. And then the other thing I read was that the Panama Canal is already lowering the amount of traffic through the canal because the water level is so much lower than it typically is already. So some of this it sounds like it may be already impacting the markets and global. And then you've got all these other shipping disruptions in the Middle East and in the Black Sea. And now if you add shipping, disruption going through the Panama Canal, and you can kind of start to see how El Nino is already starting to impact things already now.
Yeah, you're 100% right. With China, they're smart, right? And they may be looking at potential weather problems being a $2 mover for corn and soybeans, and that they would consider the price right now cheap in the U.S. I would be full bore bullish if we just didn't have a huge supply of safina crop coming to market right now, competing with our corn, and that we have 2 billion bushels left over for corn. It's the only reason I've been hesitant at all in this marketplace, that we're going to have too many bushels. So to quickly drop 50 cents with better weather in August is, in my opinion, still probable. However, long term, this looks like a year where we could see 5.50 corn easy. And that's one of the reasons that we are maintaining no new sales. I haven't made a sale on this move on new crop corn at all, or beans. And so we still at 493 average. We're still not there yet, but we're getting pretty close. And so I'm looking to sell very little right now. I want to see what happens in South America, just like the Chinese are preparing by buying U.S. stuff. And I believe you're right on that, Josh.
Yeah, so basically, I think kind of summarize everything. We've got all these questions. While people are thinking in terms of U.S. crop, and they see on some places, some of our guys, everything's going well. They had good moisture before. Maybe there's just a little bit too much going on around the rest of the world right now that people gotta be aware of beyond just what's happening here.
Yeah.
And maybe that's maybe why the rally in the crop condition ratings, they don't necessarily match up right now. I just think there's a lot more going on around the world.
Yeah, you got to let's not forget France. I think that is way underreported. They have been devastated. 45 days of straight heat and dryness. Here in the U.S., we've had 10 days of heat and dryness, and then it cools down, and then we have a week of okay, and then we get 10 days again. If that break has really helped the crop, I think. There was no break in France. Their crop is bad. Now the Russian wheat crop is fantastic. So, we got to blend everything together. And right now, my major concern to the downside, and only concern to the downside, is a glut of stuff that moves to market in August. And this is when end users typically say, I'm not buying ahead. I got all this stuff coming in. Hedge Plus is 50% sold on new crop corn that's coming off the combine. I got 2 billion bushels of old crop that farmers have to sell. I got a near record safina crop moving to the export market right now. All those bushels being moved to get a rally higher than $5. And I think we go to 505. That's my target right now, the previous high. If we go to 505, I think it ends and we go back down to 450. Okay. So way better price outlook now than what it was because of all the stuff going on around the world, and the weather is definitely cutting into yields.
Okay, sounds good. Well, these are great questions this week. Thank you, Patrick, for the answers. Still a lot of things up in the air. Some days this week it seems like the market's looking for a new direction, but today we're going up again. So
yeah,
we'll see how.
We're looking good. Hey, enjoy the rally. Get a little margin call, make it. We're going to someday fall down. If we have a hedge on at that point, we'll be great. In the meantime, I'm adding longs. We're not going to sell until we get a clear top. That may not be to after we see what happens with the South American crop. So have a great week.
Have a great week, everyone.